we're about to dive into some really profound wisdom, all about a topic that, honestly, hits home for every single one of us: impermanence. And our guide on this journey is a text that's, get this, over 2,000 years old. So, let's start with a question that I think we've all wrestled with, right? Why does everything we love have to eventually fade away? You know that feeling. Why can't the good times just last? Why do we have to lose the people and things that mean the most to us? It's just a fundamental, universal part of being human. But it turns out this ancient Buddhist text, the Sutra of the Radiant, offers a direct and powerful answer. And what's so cool about it is that it doesn't just hit you with a bunch of abstract philosophy. Nope, it answers this huge question using stories, parables that really stick with you. Okay, so let's get into it. First up, we're going to look at this text as an ancient guide to loss. The sutra kicks things off with this incredible story. It's about 4 brothers, and they're not just any guys, they're powerful mystics. I mean, they have some serious abilities. But then they get some bad news. They have exactly 7 days left to live. Now, just stop and think about that for a second. What would you do if you had that kind of power, but also that kind of deadline? So, what do? Well, they decide they're gonna cheat death. The first brother hides himself right in the middle of the vast ocean. The second one, he seals himself inside the mighty Mount Sumeru. The third, he just vanishes into the boundless sky. And the fourth brother, he tries a different tactic. He disappears into a bustling city crowd, trying to just blend in. Each one picked a spot where they were absolutely sure death could never, ever find them. But here's the kicker, and it's pretty brutal. After those 7 days were up, every single one of them died. Exactly where they hid. Right there in the ocean, inside the mountain, up in the sky, and lost in the crowd. The message is just crystal clear, right from the get-go. There is no escape. So, the fact that these super powerful brothers failed shows us something huge. No amount of power can get you around a fundamental law of existence. And that brings us right to the core idea of this whole text, what it calls life's unbreakable law. And that law has a name: impermanence. This is the central message here. The principle is that absolutely everything is in a constant state of flux. Nothing lasts. Every object, every feeling, your own life, it's all constantly changing. It's not static, it's a flow. Now, there's this one verse that's really the philosophical heart of the entire sutra. It's just a beautiful, powerful summary of this whole idea. Let's take a look at the original before we break down what it really means. Okay, let's unpack that. All that is impermanent. That's the main idea right there. It's a law of rising and falling. Simple as that. Things are born, they flourish, and then they fade. Then it gets personal. He who is born must die. That's us. But then there's this twist at the end. The cessation is peace. Whoa. The idea is that once you truly get this, the ending of things isn't scary. It's actually a source of peace. That's a huge shift in perspective. Now, to make sure this doesn't just stay some abstract idea, the sutra gives us even more stories. It doesn't just tell you the rule, it shows you. So let's dive into some of these parables of a fleeting world. Okay, check this story out. Imagine you're a potter. You pour your heart and soul into your work, creating these beautiful pots. But then there's this king who, for no good reason, just keeps coming by and smashing everything you make, just senselessly destroying it. Can you imagine the anxiety? This potter was living in constant fear, just watching all his effort get wiped out again and again. So finally, he just can't take it anymore. He gives up his entire craft, leaves it all behind, and becomes a monk, thinking, okay, this is where I'll find peace. But here's the thing. Even in the quiet monastery, he's still haunted by that same fear of loss. It turns out, changing his job and his location didn't actually change his mind. And this is where the teaching comes in so brilliantly. The Buddha tells him, look, like a potter making a pot from clay, all are bound to break. Human life is also thus. It's the perfect metaphor, right? He uses the potter's own craft to explain life. Just like every pot is destined to break eventually, so is every human life. The fragility wasn't just in the pots, it was in the potter too. And, well, it's in all of us. Then there's another story that just drives home how fast this all can happen. It's pretty shocking. In the morning, a disciple named Ananda sees this popular musician. He's at the top of his game, surrounded by friends and fans, looking like a king of the heavens. Then, just a few hours later, that same afternoon, Ananda sees the man's funeral procession. His family is just wailing in grief. The joy of the morning completely gone, replaced by the deepest sorrow. Life can literally turn on a dime. Okay, so if this change is just a natural law, why does it hurt so much? Why is it so painful? Well, the sutra has an answer for that. It says the problem isn't the change itself, it's our reaction to it. And this leads us to what it calls the fire of desire. This is a really crucial point. The idea is that impermanence, on its own, is totally neutral. It's not good or bad, it's just the way things are. It only turns into suffering when we start clinging to things, when we fight reality and pretend they're permanent. That clinging, that deep desire for things to just stay the same, that's the real source of the pain. And to really hammer this point home, the sutra tells another story, and honestly, this one is pretty shocking. So there's a woman at a well with her child. A musician is playing nearby, and she just becomes completely mesmerized, totally consumed with desire for him. And she gets so lost in this feeling, so distracted, that she makes a fatal mistake. Instead of lowering the bucket into the well, she accidentally lowers her own child. It's a horrifying story, I know, but it's meant to be a wake-up call. It's a warning about how blinding and destructive our desires can be when they're unchecked. They can make us lose sight of everything that actually matters. So the sutra basically lays out two different ways to see the world. There's the fool's view, which is all about possession. It's the voice that says, my kids, my money, my stuff, it's all mine, and I am permanent. But then there's the wise view, and this view says, wait a minute, even my own self isn't truly mine. It's temporary. And if you can't even possess your own self, how on earth can you possess children or wealth? So if clinging is the problem, what's the solution? That brings us to our final section, the wisdom of letting go. Now, it's really easy to hear all of this and think, wow, that sounds depressing, like it's all about despair. But the sutra argues for the complete opposite. It says true freedom doesn't come from winning the fight and making things last forever. True freedom comes from accepting truly and deeply that they won't. It's like once we see things as they really are, just a constant flow, always changing, we can finally stop fighting it. We can stop fighting this impossible battle against reality itself, a battle we are absolutely guaranteed to lose every single time. And it's in that surrender, in that letting go, that we can find a really profound sense of peace. And that brings us to a final thought, one that takes all this ancient wisdom and makes it very, very personal for you right now. If you really, truly accepted that nothing lasts forever, what could you let go of today? What fear, what worry, what attachment could you finally set down?